Hi everyone, my name is Tori Reddick. Today I will be doing a PowerPoint presentation on the cultures of the U.S. and the United Arab Emirates. I chose to do research on the United Arab Emirates because I have always been interested in its culture, modern technology, modern architecture and economic wealth. I'm planning to visit there next year, so it's only right that I chose this country to become more knowledgeable about the UAE and its cultures. During this presentation, I analyzed the United Arab Emirates and the U.S. using Globe's two models. Both countries scored close enough in most areas to conclude that they would work well together. However, there still would be some minor issues that may arise due to their cultural differences. These differences are discussed when it comes to teamwork, communication, and motivation. In order to be successful as leaders and professional and business professionals, we must learn how to interact with individuals in a diverse setting. There are scriptures to support that believers should accept and treat others fairly despite their differences. We all should adhere to those scriptures and the lessons we have been taught throughout life when coming in contact with individuals of other cultures. I know everyone is eager to learn about the UAE, so let's get started. First, we're going to discuss the geographic location. The United Arab Emirates is located in the eastern part of the Arabian Peninsula, which extends along part of the Gulf of Oman and the southern coast of the Persian Gulf. The United Arab Emirates is a country which consists of these seven small emirates, and you see them listed. They're also located on the map. I won't even try to pronounce them because I will screw them up. So sorry about that. These seven emirates are located on the Arabian Peninsula, combined to form a federation after Britain pulled out of this barren and sandy coastal region in 1971. Next, I thought it would be interesting to observe points of interest in the UAE. The first one is the JW Marriott Marquis, the world's tallest hotel. Located in Dubai, the JW Marriott consists of 1,608 rooms and offers over 8,000 square meters of indoor and outdoor event space. Tower 1 alone has an incredible 806 rooms and over 8,000 square meters of indoor and outdoor event space. The next point of interest is the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. The Burj Khalifa is located in Dubai. It stands 2,722 feet and is nearly 700 feet taller than the second tallest structure in the world. Next, we will be discussing the ethnic group. The population of the UAE in 2016 is 9,157,000,000 according to UN estimates. The largest group of non-UAE nationals are South Asian at 58%, followed by Asians at 17%, and Western expatriates at 8.5%. Their government. Each emirate has a federal president, prime minister, and a separate ruler who oversees the local government. The president is elected by the Supreme Council, which is responsible for creating policies for a 5-year term. The President selects a council of ministers to manage the process and implementation of policies. The Federal National Council is a group of 40 members that analyzes and advises the Council of Ministers on policies. Religion. About three-fourths of the population is Muslim, of which roughly four-fifths belong to the Sunni branch of Islam, Shiite minorities. The Sunnis and Shiites are separated because of their beliefs on who should have been the successor after the Prophet Muhammad passed away. They're also separated because of their different practices. So although they are Islam, they practice They are part of the Islam religion. They are considered separate. I also found it interesting that during the fall, Ramadan is observed for an entire month. Ramadan consists of abstaining from consuming any food or drink items during sunrise and sunset. Another point of interest is the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, the architectural work of art. This architectural work of art is in Abu Dhabi and is considered one of the world's largest mosques with a capacity for an astonishing 40,000 worshippers. It features 82 domes, over 1,000 columns, 24-karat gold gilded chandeliers, and the world's largest hand-knotted carpet. The main prayer hall is dominated by one of the world's largest chandeliers. Now we're going to move on and briefly discuss the history of the GLOBE project. The Global Leadership and Organizational Behavior Effectiveness Project was developed in the 90s by Robert J. House to research the relationships among societal culture, organizational culture, and leadership. GLOBE's purpose was to develop and implement a program that consisted of many phases and methods in effort to evaluate the relationship between cultures internationally, the influence of leadership in societal phenomena. There was a total of over 160 researchers from 62 societies that were active participants in the research design that began in 1993. Individual and focus groups interviews with managers in their own countries were conducted. GLOBE distinguished between cultural values and practices because of its view that national culture can be broadly defined as values, beliefs, norms, and behavioral patterns of a national group. This led them to formulate their measures in terms of respondents' perceptions of their organizational and national context, distinguishing what they call values and practices. The following chart is GLOBE's cultural chart, which shows the scores of Anglo and Middle East. This chart dictates whether these countries will be good servant leaders. According to this chart, um, they scored pretty high as far as charismatic, team-oriented, and participative. But if you look at humane and autonomous and also self-protective, it looks pretty low. Regardless of how high these scores seem as far as the first three categories, the items were rated on a 7-point Likert type scale that ranged from a low of 1. This behavioral characteristic greatly inhibits a person from being an outstanding leader to a high of 7. This behavior or characteristic contributes greatly to a person being um, being an outstanding leader. So based on the scores from both cultures, I would still say that we cannot suggest that these cultures are considered outstanding leaders, but I do believe that based on these scores, they have the potential to be outstanding leaders. The next chart is the Globe's Practice Dimensions chart. As you can see, the scores between the U.S. and Qatar are very close. Let's discuss what these scores mean when it comes to both cultures working together. Communication. The U.S. and Quasar scores were medium in assertiveness, which means when it comes to addressing issues that may require them to be confrontational or aggressive. They will express their ideals and handle things accordingly. The power distance score for the U.S. was relatively high and medium for Quasar. I don't feel that this will cause an issue to be concerned with only because there is some acknowledgement and understanding on Quasar's behalf. of basically the power distance. So I believe there is respect of the differences in power. Motivation. Since both countries score medium in humane orientation and group collectivism, that means they would do well motivating individuals by rewarding their efforts and encouraging them to keep up the good work, resulting in an increase of the members' pride, loyalty, and cohesiveness. However, there may be issues when rewarding and encouraging the entire group because Qatar scored low and the U.S. scored medium. If these two countries can agree to motivate the group collectively in regards to performance, it may cause a divide between members, which will cause them to be less productive. The U.S. and Qatar scored medium in institutional collectivism, which means they motivate the group and individuals to strive for greatness through personal needs, seniority, and group equity. Teamwork. It may be difficult to get both countries to work as a team, considering the fact that they have different views regarding future-oriented behavior. Qatar scored relatively low and the U.S. scored medium, so problems may arise since the U.S. is willing to delay gratification and Qatar isn't as willing. In uncertainty avoidance, both countries scored medium. With that being said, when it comes to making decisions regarding situations that are unexpected, they will do well with dealing with them by relying on policies, procedures, and norms and moving forward. From the biblical perspective, I chose two scriptures that relate to cultures. The first one is Romans 15:7, which states, accept one another, then just as Christ accepted you, in order to bring praise to God. This scripture is relevant to the topic we're discussing today because the main thing us as believers should do is love and accept one another no matter how different we are. The next scripture, Leviticus 19, verse 33 to 34 states, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. According to this scripture, we shouldn't do wrong to those from other countries because all of us are considered foreigners. We almost must treat each other with respect regardless of our backgrounds, our cultural differences, our race, our religion, what have you. We all should be treated and loved with respect and treated with kindness. With all the information that has been discussed, I believe that it is important to realize that in order to be truly successful in the business world, we must identify and respect the differences between each other. No matter what culture we are a part of, we can all learn from one another and accomplish goals together. The U.S. and Qatar, or the Middle East and Anglo scores, determined that they shared a lot of the same dimensions or characteristics, although their cultures and geographic location are differ significantly. The globe model identified how the countries were both similar and different based on the data collected. The information that we gather from these models only aids us as business professionals in working with and better understanding others. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.